Welcome to the flow.
Hello, my darling. Welcome to a new Zentara Flow episode. I'm so happy to see you here. Today, we're going to talk about, the English title is yet to be defined, but potentially, I'm thinking right now, the new age bullshit. And therefore, this title may seem a little uncohesive, a little incoherent with Santara Flow and what we've talked about in previous episodes, because ultimately, a lot of the information that I share here has a lot to do with the new age wave, right? So, before I get into that, let me just mention real quick: A, thank you for being here. B, thank you for subscribing. C, thank you for your comments. Because actually, I was talking to a very dear friend of mine a couple days ago, and that conversation about the podcast and the episodes that she'd seen and whatnot made me realize that I was coming through a bit too serious. That's, if you don't know me, that's obviously a bit hard for you to tell, obviously, because you don't know me. But my personality is a bit more cray cray, a bit more shiny, a bit more wiggly, a bit more out there, if you will. And so that made me realize that it's okay, because it's the first time I ever do a podcast. It's the first time I ever allow myself or give myself the opportunity to learn to talk for over 20 minutes, and sort of like monologue format over 20 minutes in front of a camera. So it comes with its challenges. I'm really enjoying it, but I kind of realized, because of this conversation with a friend, that I was maybe too much on my head and too worried about, kind of keeping it together, trying to be coherent with my communication and getting my ideas through and whatnot. And that possibly made me look a bit more stiff, if you will. So all of this is just to say that if you all of a sudden feel like you're seeing a different Andre from the one you've been seeing in the previous episodes, that is quite all right, because I am now making a conscious effort to actually pretend that I'm talking to a friend, instead of thinking about, like, oh my god, you're actually recording a podcast, this is so much responsibility and whatnot. Not to say I don't feel the responsibility of sharing content right now or in the future, but I'm just gonna kind of I'm gonna take a humongous pill chill and just try to feel myself more into me and communicate from that space of hopefully authenticity. Yes. Okay, so now let's get into the nitty gritty. What happens here is that, let me start by giving. I want to start by giving you like an internet definition of what New Age is, in case you've never heard of it or you don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So, New Age is a modern form of spirituality that blends ideas from different traditions, Eastern, esoteric, and psychological, with a focus on personal growth. In short, it's a spirituality without a fixed religion. It's centered on individual experience. Let me just say that again. It's a spirituality without a fixed religion, centered on individual experience. It combines diverse practices and beliefs such as meditation, energy work, manifestation, astrology, etc. It seeks well being, awareness, and personal transformation rather than rules or dogma. Even more concise, we could say it's a flexible, personalized spirituality focused on inner growth. Now, this all sounds lovely, beautiful, and amazing to me, and I have no complaints on that, because that is quite literally the description of the tools, situations, methods, certifications, and type of information that has been surrounding my life for the past 7, 8 years. Because that type of information is precisely what basically became the, let's call it a system, that helped me move from a very dark mental space to a very healthy mental space. And so, therefore, I am not here to just criticize it for the sake of criticizing, but mostly I kind of noticed that for the last couple months, there have been a couple things that have kind of appeared of some sort of red flags to me that are being shared in the name of New Age or being kind of disguised as New Age type of information. And potentially it could look like it, but I feel like ultimately it is kind of not. So I figured it would be nice to talk about it in this episode. And I actually really want to hear about your opinion if you're someone that's also been following this type of tools, information, and just like era, if you will, and see what you feel and think about it. So the great thing about recording the episode in second place, like the English one, I always do it after the Spanish one, is that theoretically my ideas are a tiny bit more organized than they are when I do the Spanish one. Especially because I have the brilliant idea of taking no freaking notes whatsoever for either of both episodes. So that means I can potentially just roam around and jump from one subject to another without a proper structure. But it is true that the Spanish one kind of helped me realize that what was happening to me or what's been happening to me with this new age situation, it's kind of what happened to me with religion, right? So both my parents were, I guess I would call them like chilled Catholics. They grew up in very strict Catholic households, not in an intense negative way. Just what I mean by that is that they were requested to go to mass every Sunday, and be a bit more proactive in their religion. And for my case, they were a little bit more chilled. I did get baptized. I did go through with like the different stages of, as you grow older with religion, but they never really were super intense about it. Actually, it was quite ironic because they were super chilled, and for most of my life, I basically just kind of felt a very deep connection with God and with my guardian angels, and I always felt very protective and taken care of, and I still do. But then it wasn't until high school that I was in a Catholic high school, so I started attending in summer as a missionary to different places nearby Chihuahua, where I grew up in Mexico. And so when I started entering my missionary era, I basically feel like it was the highest point of my most intense Catholic period of my life. Like I really became more soaked into what being a Catholic means, like reading the Bible, understanding deeply more of the meanings behind the things we do at Mass, and what a quote unquote like a proper Catholic person would be according to the institution. And so I was very into the whole thing, and I would confess maybe like once a week, which would blow my father's mind because he would be like a bit frustrated about like what could you possibly be doing that would be so horrible that you would need to be confessing yourself like every taking confession every freaking week, right? But basically, what happened is that afterwards, like after getting deeper into understanding Catholicism and religion and church and whatnot, it came to a point where I kind of learned so much that I kind of flipped. Meaning, I started questioning a lot of the things that I was learning about religion, and I started finding a lot of incoherences and things that didn't kind of sit with me and that didn't feel as Catholic or as loving as the religion per se would preach, right? And so I had this sort of like religious crisis, religious breakup, with specifically with the church. I feel like it was more of an institutional type of situation more than my relationship with God itself. Um, and so, it was kind of a couple of complicated years where I was super firm on my faith and believe fully and blindly in the whole institution, church, like the whole thing, including like the human part of it. And then I started learning so much of it that I was kind of going the other way, being like, oh my God, this is not feeling so loving and Catholic anymore. Like, what is going on there? What's happening with these incoherences and da da da? And so I went kind of like on the other extreme and I became an atheist. Atheist. I became an atheist for couple couple months, couple years there, and then I kind of found a balanced point where I was like, okay, I'm still Catholic, I still believe in God, I've always felt that loving presence, but I'm just not a fan of the church and the institution and like the human administrative part of it, if you will. And that's been quite good. Like, I feel like that was a good balancing point, right? But basically the whole thing, like the journey of religion with me was like from not knowing it too much to starting like dipping my toes into it, to going like fully into the pool of religion, and then to being so deep in that I started questioning so many things, and those questions made me kind of go the other extreme into not believing at all because I was so disappointed of like the incoherences that I found and the things that I learned. And then I kind of went back a little bit, in which I found like the midpoint of, okay, I believe in a God, I love like the presence and the joy and like the beautifulness of that relationship that you can have with God. But I just kind of stayed away a little bit from the institution per se. And I feel that's kind of what's happening to me with New Age right now. So I started this New Age journey with, basically, it was around 2017, 2018, with my depression. And that's kind of like the starting point when I started learning about meditation and, taking different courses, from like learning how to do therapy with angels to studying a little bit of quantum physics to, just starting consuming a lot of podcasts about spirituality. And I attended a retreat. And I kind of did. I started seeing New Age from different perspectives and found a lot of very interesting, cool, helpful tools that actually did get me from a very deep, horrible, depressing point of my life to what I now consider a very healthy mental state, a much brighter, happier, fulfilled life. Not to say that it's perfect, but I feel like now I've got different tools to help me, come back to my center, connect with myself. I reconnected with my self love, which was something that I hadn't had for the biggest chunk of my life. And based on the definition that I read to you of what New Age is, it sounds beautiful, and I think it is beautiful, and I feel like I indeed connected with that definition. And so the point of this episode is to say that I feel lately I've been kind of seeing a lot of information that wants to come across as new age. And that's the thing about humans. Like, um as soon as something looks like a doorway to wealth, people start running towards it, and then intentions kind of go out the back. I don't know if I expressed that in the right way, but basically what I want to say is New Age, I think, has a lot of beauty in it, in allowing people to really reconnect with themselves and empower them and remind them of the God within that each of us is and have, right? But also the new age and the spirituality world has become a trillionaire industry. So there's been a lot of like false gurus, and I feel like there's lately I've been noticing a lot of information that is kind of selling itself as new age, but ultimately it is, I feel like, just random people trying to to take advantage of people's time, money, resources, and energy, basically. So that's where I draw my line. And this is why I wanted to talk or make this quick episode about the quote unquote dangers of the new age. So basically, the message that I want to share with you today in this episode is to remind you that you already have everything you need within you. So basically, just use your discernment, please. Um, from the information that you see out there, I've said this even in my own episodes from day one, take what resonates. You don't need to buy or to firmly believe and make yours every single piece of information that comes your way. And I feel like now more than ever, it's a little bit what's happening with religions, and I'm not just talking about Catholic. I feel like many or most religions, in many aspects, both have that duality of actually yes, being like a loving and a safe space for you to live a happy, fulfilled, peaceful, loving life. But also, there's like the other side of the coin in each religion, which is kind of like the human side of it. And unfortunately, I do feel that many religions take advantage of vulnerable people that maybe have been through tough situations that are feeling lost, and they just see a business and a potential client in front of them and want to take advantage of that. So I feel like it can potentially be the same thing with this whole new age situation. And the description talks about a lot of how it's all about reconnecting with yourself. And I feel like that's the key point, and that's what I want to share with you on this episode. Kind of just remind you that you already have that inner knowing. I feel like we are particles of God, and as a particle of God in the design that the creator gave us, it kind of included everything we need within to be able to live our most fulfilled, our happiest, our most kind of expanded, amazing, beautiful, fun, delicious, pleasurable, yummy life, right? In every possible aspect. Like I feel like both the hardware and the software that we're equipped with, um meaning like our how do you say that in English? Like our physiology, our yeah, right? Like the physical side of us, what we can touch and feel, which would be like kind of our hardware, is such a wonderful machine. And also our software, like the subtle things and programs and abilities that we have, our gifts and our capacities and abilities in our mind and our soul, like this whole package, this wonderful, magnificent, amazing package that we are as human beings, has everything we need within for us to be able to live a God worthy life, right? I feel like as particles of God, I feel the Creator already gave us everything we need to take from within, and to express it and kind of bring it out forward into creating that wonderful, magnificent life that we deserve. And therefore, the whole point of this episode is to invite you to use your discernment, to follow your heart, to follow your inner knowing, to follow your intuition, so that you can understand what is actually right for you and what is well intended for you. Because I'm not saying that you should not be consuming podcasts or books or courses or attend retreats. It's quite the opposite. All of these tools are what actually got me to a very beautiful and good place in my life from a very dark space. But please excuse me if you're watching YouTube, like my nose is itching so hard. I'm trying not to, but I just can't stop it. So, what I want to invite you in this episode, and I'd love to hear your opinion as well, because I feel like lately there's been a lot of false gurus and kind of bullshit information that has been around, kind of spreading around, disguised as New Age, but ultimately it's just people trying to take advantage of your time, money, resources, and energy. There's a lot of people and entities out there that are actually feeding off from your energy. So just beware of that, okay? Basically, the point of this episode is to remind you that we already have everything within, and it's not about not using those tools and not leaning and asking for help and learning from courses, resources, books, etc., because that's what I did and that's what helped me incredibly, so much, to be in such a good place today. But just question yourself for a second if it's something that actually looks to help you reconnect and empower yourself and help you remember and recognize that freaking endless power that lies within you, and for you to reconnect with that and to live it and to express it from such a deep internal beautiful space, then I feel like that's something that genuinely wants to help you and that is indeed and in fact made with love to help you reconnect with, through, and for love. But if it's something that tells you that you need to rely on it, like if it's asking you to rely on an external situation and it's telling you that that your power lies outside of you, then I feel like that's kind of just a bullshit situation, course, person, podcast, whatever it can be. Like, if it tells you that the answer and the power and your power is on them outside of you, that's total BS. Like, that's my whole point. Just kind of learn to listen to your inner knowing, take what resonates. Your soul is so infinitely wise, and I feel like our souls are kind of that reflection of what God is. And I feel like our inner knowing and our inner voice is the voice of God itself, in that kind of infinite wisdom. So the more we learn to listen to that internal voice, which is coming from the most loving and pure and infinite love, then the safer it is for us to navigate through life, making the right choices, following the right people, following the right path, and taking the action that is actually aligned with our highest purpose, with our highest version, with our highest reality that is based on, from, with, and for love. And so that's kind of the message here today. And I'm not saying it's easy. I've been working, it's not hard, but it isn't easy. Like, it is something that should come naturally to us. And sadly, I feel like the system from a very young age is designed to cut us away or separate us or make us forget about that inner knowing, that inner wisdom, that inner voice, and kind of starts programming you into kind of reaching out to external things in order for you to feel that you need something outside in order for you to be able to live a healthy, a happy, a fulfilled life. But it's actually kind of the opposite. I feel like the biggest rebellion that we can do as humanos, as humans right now is to actually reconnect within. Like, if you want to create a positive impact, start with yourself. Start by allowing yourself to reconnect with your power, with your inner knowing, with your intuition, and act from that space of love, of clarity, of divineness, because there's just so much freaking wisdom inside of you. We just need to remember and reconnect with that and trust that inner knowing and that inner voice. So, yeah, that's, I guess, all I wanted to say. Just don't fall for this like false gurus and false gods and whoever and whatever tells you that your lie, that your power and your truth and the solutions of whatever situation you may be living in your life right now lies outside of you, is lying. Don't buy it. And again, that is not to say that you shouldn't be trying new things, taking new courses, following people that feel aligned to you, or like, that's not to say that you need to go into your house and lock your room and just um, go within and stay there for the rest of your life, because that's not what life is about. And that is not to say that you cannot find teachers or professionals or, you know, different resources that can help you remember and reconnect with that love, with that power, with that inner knowing, because that would be a disservice to you. That's exactly what I did. Like, what helped me move from a very deep depression to a very good place in my life was, I would say, the combination of two things, and they're kind of intricate within each other. And one of them was looking for outside people, resources, informations, tools that helped me heal and reminded me of my power and helped me realize what I was carrying that was not mine and that was kind of becoming way too heavy for me to carry on, and that I needed to leave behind. And also at the same time, those external things were actually tools that helped me reconnect with myself, with my power, with my love, to return to myself, to my true beingness, to kind of be to be as authentic as I can be, to learn to follow and to reconnect, so that I could be able to listen to my inner voice that would tell me what I really wanted to do, what I really want to be, what I really want to say, what I really want to, ultimately become. And so that whole process was kind of integrating external, but those external things ultimately made me reconnect with myself, like reminded me of my power. The power was never, and none of that tools told me that my power was outside of me. Quite the contrary, it kind of reminded me that everything was already inside me, and I just needed to kind of reconnect with that, make space from what was no longer needed, and kind of allow myself, my voice, my heart, my love to come out again, and for me to reconnect with that. So, and also meditation and taking time to just, go within and check out, kind of make an inventory of what's out there. There's not a textbook, and there's not just one route for everyone. There's not one fixed solution for every single human, because we're also different, and we all have had different experiences. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different perspectives and cultures and ways of thinking and being, which is like the beauty and the most amazing part of, I feel, humans and humanity. And so I'm not saying that what worked for me is going to work for you. You need to find your medicine, as some people call it, and just to understand what's going to ultimately help you be in a better or in a good place with you and your life. But what I do want to say, and I do feel applies for, I guess, most people, is just remind you that your power is within you. So anything or anyone that wants to convince you that it is outside of you, that's bullshit. Because God is within you. You are God. Like we're one with God, right? So yeah, just take what resonates in this episode, in this podcast, but also in general in your life. Whatever information, coaches, courses, techniques, tools you find out there, just take a second to ask yourself if they feel aligned, if they really resonate with you, if it feels true to your heart and soul, that that is going to be a tool that has kind of the best, most loving and pure interests to actually help you empower yourself and reconnect with yourself. And if it just doesn't vibe with you, then that's, I feel like, the most, like the strongest, most pure signal that your body, mind and soul will give you, that that's just not for you. So don't, like, trust that intuition, trust that inner knowing. I feel like that's the main message that I wanted to give you today, and that's what I leave you with. And let me know what you feel, how you feel about this new age thing. I'm the biggest fan. It's definitely helped me hips, but yeah, I've just noticed that there's been a lot of people that are kind of getting, trying to get in the new age train, trying to sell it for something that it's not, and just trying to take advantage of people, which I feel like that's not a cool thing to do. So this is why I wanted to take the time to make this episode and just remind you that, you know, you're worthy, you're deeply loved, and it is perfectly okay and normal and valid and correct to look outside of yourself for information, tools, resources, people, courses, etc., that will help you be better and feel better and become better. But just remember that the real power lies already within you. Like everything you need is already here. And if that external information, it's going to bring you back and it's going to give you the tools to reconnect with that, then I feel that is a tool that has a loving purpose and that was made from, with, through, and for love. And if it's something that tells you that you need to be, that your power lies outside of you, then that's total bullshit. I guess that's the nitty gritty of this episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Please, if you haven't, subscribe. And if you feel that this is going to help somebody, then go ahead and share it. And if you have something to say, please do comment. I love reading your comments. I feel like it helps me understand, where this can move. I'm also learning as I go along, just like you are in this journey of life. So thank you for being here. I love you. I send you a humongous hug. And I will see you on the next one. Take care, okay? Love ya. Bye bye.